Hey guys, Jonas here. If you watched last week's video, Rob was giving one of the filmmakers in our little filmmaking community here some advice on how to fix a flickering time-lapse. So this week I want to do something similar. We received a message from one of the other young filmmakers in this community asking for comments on his first video. This video is basically him out with his friends snowboarding and doing some pretty sweet tricks. And quite honestly, I thought the format of this video is not a whole lot different to a lot of the videos that we make when we're out documenting trips and being out with friends and just trying to get as much of the action as possible on camera. So I thought this was a pretty neat chance to give some general comments on how you can, take your first video and then just bump up the production value a little bit for your next video. So in this video, I want to give 3 simple and just general tips. First, I want to talk about making sure that each clip counts. And then the expression "kill your darlings." I know it sounds terrible, but it's not as bad as it sounds. And the last thing is assuming everyone helping you is a beginner. With making sure each clip counts, I mean that it's good to have an idea what kind of shot you want to give you good material to work with afterwards. The first and easiest thing is to practice getting stable shots. The tripod is going to be your first friend here. So take a look at the snowboarding video here again. So as you can see, the video is shaking a little bit, and after a while it does get a little bit distracting. So using a tripod in this case would probably be pretty beneficial. Alright, so today I brought 4 different types of tripods and I'm going to show you some pros and cons with each. Let's start with the big video tripod that I have. When I'm turning it like this, you see how it's really smooth. It's a fluid head, which makes panning it really smooth and really simple. This tripod is pretty heavy, and especially if you're out snowboarding and you got to carry all your stuff, it does make it a little bit harder to bring. Although when you have it out and you're actually using it, you're definitely going to be happy that you have it. But the weight and the price might not make it ideal to start out with. So I understand that when you get into filmmaking, you're probably going to end up getting one of these smaller tripods as your first tripod. Problem with these tripods though is that if you're panning with it like this, it's not very smooth. It's actually pretty crappy. So what I like to do instead, especially if you have things moving fast like a snowboarder, is to just extend one leg like so and use this thing as a monopod. So you just plant that one leg on the ground, and then you can use it to swivel around, and the shots will look a lot more stable than if you were going all handheld. This here is my miniature tripod, and this is what I bring if I have to cut all weight and just have something at least with me. I mostly use it for time lapses, but another thing you can do is use it as a counterweight for the camera, which will make your shots look a little bit smoother. But if you want to take it even further without going into really expensive professional gear, then a glide cam or a steady cam of some sort is the way to go. This will give you really smooth shots. It takes out a lot of the vibrations, but it does take a lot of practice and it does cost some money. I'm going to hold on to this last frame here because in a way it leads me into my next tip, the phrase "killing your darlings." So I'm editing up this piece right now, and if you take a close look at this clip, you can probably tell that I am slightly out of focus. And this relates well to the "killing your darlings" term. I know it's a terrible phrase, but it basically means that we build up an emotional attachment to part of our work. So let's say you were a photographer or videographer, you probably had some really special moments out there shooting video or taking pictures, but they might not work well with the story that you're trying to tell. So killing your darlings basically means that we got to be really selective and picky when we pick out the shots that we put in our final video. Making sure that they work well with the story and making sure that they make sense to the viewer. So for example, if a shot is blurry, out of focus, even if it would have shown something really well if it had been sharp, it's still probably not a good idea to put it in the final video. For this shot, it was the only shot that I had for the video, and I think it made a pretty good point and a pretty good transition to what I was trying to say, right? The third thing I want to mention is a general tip for when you go out with some good friends and you're shooting a video, for example, a snowboarding video. Never assume that any of your friends know how to handle a camera. I don't know how many times I've been out handing the camera off to a friend and just assuming that the person knows how to handle a camera, and I get back and all of my shots are out of focus, for example. So unless you know that the person can film, make sure you are as specific as possible when it comes to telling the person what to film and how to do it. Hope you found that a little bit useful. I know it's a little bit of a hassle to, you know, start bringing all these things with you when you go snowboarding, but it is going to be worth it, especially when you get back and take a look at the shots. It's going to give you a lot more good material to work with. If you like filmmaking and photography, and if you're not familiar with this channel before, please go ahead and check out some of the other videos that we have. We have tips and tricks and all kinds of stuff, and we have a lot more videos coming out. So if you want, go ahead and subscribe, and let us know what you think as well. We love to hear your comments. Okay, thanks for watching.